Hey everyone, and welcome to our TYR Wodapalooza coverage. I'm your host, Lauren Kalil. We have Annie Sakamoto and Nikki Brazier back here. We are now talking about the women's team podium picks. Ooh, I don't know about you guys, but I think I am most excited to watch the teams throw down at Wodapalooza.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
actually
think
totally agree with you. I'm most excited. And I don't normally say that. Sometimes the team
Yeah,
division can
no,
be like
definitely
a
not.
little hectic to watch, or it's like you only really know about one or two teams that have like well-known athletes or they come from well-known gyms or something. But like the star power on these teams, like I am here for this competition.
yeah, it was so hard to pick you literally could have written all the teams' names, thrown them up in the air, and whatever three I would have grabbed, I could have argued for any of those teams, right?
For sure. And we'll kind of get into it once we look at our podium picks. But I think one of the biggest thing is so many of these athletes are such strong individual competitors. But what happens when you put them on a team together and there's so much unknown with that?
Definitely.
There's like 10 ways to answer that question. I
Well,
don't
a
know.
lot of that is going to come down to how the events are programmed, right?
Hmm.
Are they going to be very team oriented? Are they going to be more individual, cumulative kind of oriented? So there's way too many factors to really know like which one of these teams is going to do the best or really well.
For sure. Okay, so last time we started with Annie first for women's individual. Nikki, we're going to let you go first. So let's take a look at your teams. From
All
1 to
right.
3, we have the daughters and O'Brien is number 1, Simmons, Horvath, and Megala for number 2, and Nisler, Williamson, and Mikulishin in number 3.
Okay. I think if you don't have the daughters and O'Brien as number one, are you new here? Truly. Like, I just
Uh-oh,
think
you
when
haven't
they
seen my picks
announced,
yet.
oh, girl, we'll talk. But I just think that when they announced that crew, you're kind of like, oh, okay, well, here we go. And we have a winner. It's hard to dispute the star power amongst those three girls. And I just think Annie did say that it depends on how the events are programmed, and she is right. But I just feel like when you look at those three athletes and where they maybe have some holes in their game to fill, or maybe are a little bit weaker individually, they truly balance each other out in an extremely strong way. So I feel like there's going to be like no stone left unturned. They're just going to like, take the win across the board. And then with my number 2 pick with Simmons, Horvath, and Megala, we're talking about women who just on their own individually have shown so many strength in individual events and for years and in different climates and across the globe. And it's hard to deny the fact that when you put them together, they could easily make a run for the podium. And then this kind of was the number 3 spot for me was difficult. And I'd love to hear about you ladies, but there were so many other teams that had like those incredible individual women on them. But the combination of Nisler and Williamson, we have seen for like this entire era of CrossFit, basically, that they are just the strongest female team competitors ever across the lands in the world. And then with Sydney Mikulishin on the back end of that, I feel like they're going to round out anything you could throw at them. There's not a piece of programming that I look at those three women and think, I don't know about that. Like maybe, they're not the strongest gymnasts or they're pulling strength. That doesn't exist with those three. And so I don't think that even though you've got these, quote unquote super teams, I don't think you can count them out. I really don't.
Okay, Annie, let's take a look at your
All
women's teams
right.
podium. Both the daughters and O'Brien in first, Nisler, Williamson, and Mikulishin in second, and then Wells, Barnhart, and O'Connell in third.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so I'm with Nikki. Like that was such an easy pick as far as the daughters and O'Brien go. I'm going to say right now, that's 2 former champs and 1 future champ.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
Obviously Mal is just laser focused on winning the games. And I think she will, whether it's this year or a year or 2 from now. I definitely think that Mal O'Brien can win the games. And then obviously Katrin and Annie are two-time champs. So kind of hard to deny the star power there. Katrin is now with HWPO. So I think her training is a little different and kind of the switch up that she needed. Annie, I think, is extra hungry after getting fourth at the games this year team. I don't think she's very happy about that. And even though she's going individual this year, I think she wants to come out and win a team competition. And she's got the two best ladies to do it with. Second, being Nisler, Williamson, and Mikulishin. Like Nikki said, if you look at the Nisler Williamson combination, those are the best female team athletes our sport has seen. And they each have 6 games appearances on a team. Obviously 2 on the championship mayhem teams, twice for both of them on OC3, and then Williamson on OC3 another 2 times, and Nisler on Timberwolf. So you're talking about so much high level team experience that while for me, Sydney's a little bit more of the unknown, I think just the knowledge and experience that Andrea and Taylor have is going to far outweigh anything that Sydney might be a little bit questionable on. Again, she's a 2-time games individual athlete. So like Nikki's saying, there's no big holes for her. The third was really hard. I definitely was looking at, the Simmons, Horvath, and Magala team, but ended up with Wells, Barnhart, and O'Connell because I just like the well-roundedness of that team. I think, while Christy's not the strongest athlete, she really holds her own. And so if there's any max lifting or any really heavy lifting, those girls could definitely throw down. And if you look at the games experiences between the 3 of them, they have 20 games appearances between those 3 ladies.
Wow.
A ton of experience and time under elite competition. So again, you could have thrown any name up there, Lauren, and I would have been able to argue for any of them, but those are the 3 I went with.
All right. Speaking of arguing, I feel like I'm going to have to really defend my podium right now, but there's a reason. There's a reason. So listen to my argument. And I'm curious though, like what your feedback and what you guys think. Okay. So I actually have Nisler, Williamson, and Mikulishin in first. And the reason why I had to do that was because we're talking about the team division. Nisler and Williamson time and time again have proved that they are the best women on a team. I think that you could have thrown any other third athlete in there on the roster and they would have been fine regardless. Again, as Annie mentioned, it comes down to the programming. If this turns out to be very individual style team programming, then I think my roster would shift. But if we're looking at a team competition and there's teamwork that's involved in at least half of the events, I think that they very well could stand on the podium. David's daughter, Thor's daughter, and O'Brien. Well, if this was the individual division, all 3 of them stand on the podium. That's what I think. I won't say what order, but they are definitely the fittest women, in my opinion, that we're looking at on these rosters. But how much team experience do they have together? We know that Katrin and Mal have been able to train a bit at HWPO during their camps. Mal's down there full time. But again, Mal's priority is individual. She's training to win the CrossFit Games. So my question is, how much overlap of programming has she really had with Katrin? And again, have the 3 of them been able to train together? This might be kind of a random side note, but I'm also wondering if there's a team event that, I don't know, involved something like a 3-person worm. How is the height difference with only 3 people when you look at Mal and Annie next to each other? How could that potentially play a role in it? So those are just some things that I started to think about when I was deciding where I wanted to put their team. And then in third, Simmons, Horvath, Magala, again, all great individual competitors. Jamie has been doing incredible since she returned. I loved seeing her in person in Dubai recently. It looks like her training has been really going well. And then again, Horvath and Magala, you see them in the top 10. Horvath standing on the podium 2 years in a row at the game. So somebody who's always kind of part of the conversation there.
Very interesting.
Nikki's
I like your argument.
Still not going to happen.
No, I hear it. I actually do hear it. I actually think it's a super valid argument, Lauren. I just don't know. In the very same vein, this is a
Mhm.
completely different format than we have seen those two team competitors like
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, I'm just at the end of the day, like if you want to do apples to apples and be like, these two women are the best ever that we've seen on a team throughout the recent history of CrossFit,
Sure.
it's difficult to look at on a completely one-to-one basis because the team format here is so incredibly different. So I just don't know, but I hear you. I see you. I hear you. I see you.
Right. I do think
I
it's
just
an
don't-
argument that you can argue both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
And it's really just going to come down to the programming.
Yeah.
Totally. I had a moment where I was like, maybe I want to put the Nisler Williamson, that team on the top of the podium. Just because, again, it'll come down to the programming, but because of how rock solid Andrea Nisler and Taylor Williamson are, especially together, how well they know each other. And I think because of that, how well they'll be able to direct Sydney even mid competition, right? They're going to know how to call audibles and change things. And again, depending on the programming, but yeah, no, I had a moment. I'm with you, Lauren. I almost put them on top.
Can I tell you guys what I'm most excited about, honestly, as far as the team
Yeah.
competition goes? The athletes seem to have a lot more fun on teams. They really
Yeah.
do. And like, I know that they're out for blood and I know that they're here to win. And there's a lot going on when you can stand on top of the podium and get some cash. Like, I get it. It is serious, but it is fun watching them truly have a good time. And as a fan of the sport, like I enjoy that part of the competition a lot.
Well,
And
and I
especially
think,
because it's right before the season.
yeah.
So like this is kind of the last opportunity to have fun where like everything isn't on the line.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think Wodapalooza just naturally has that kind of more festival, fun, playful vibe to it. And then you throw in these kind of super teams, and it is like you said, everybody's probably there just to test where they're at right before the open, right? It's
Nice
there's
check-in.
money. Yeah, exactly. Like just to get that one live competition under their belt right before the season starts. So I think it is going to be sorry.
that was perfect.
He wants in on the action.
Oh my God.
That was
you
amazing.
cannot edit that out. You have to keep
Oh
this.
no. That's what's going to be cut for social is just like slow down. The cat walks across the screen. What's the cat's name?
Loki.
Loki. Of course it is.
Mhm. Just a little cow
That was
cat right
amazing.
across the screen.
Oh my God. Oh, my cheeks hurt.
Oh,
Oh, too good. Too good. All right. So Nikki, you're going to be in Miami.
Yep.
Annie, we're not going to see you in Miami this year.
I'll be with you in spirit for sure. I'll be watching every
Perfect.
minute of it.
Yeah. I was going to say, I know you're going to be watching from home.
Yep.
We'll be thinking of you. Ladies, this was so much fun. We got to do this more
Thank you so
often.
much, Lauren. It was fun.
Yeah, let's do it again. I'm here for it.
We'll do it again. We'll roll it back.